I'm not personally, of course, I can say demonstrate I've saved so much money, but company needs to be better in terms of cleansing the incoming cases. So that's how it works. So I thought I'll just take you through the slides and we'll see how effective SaaS is after the analytics was run. I'm still struggling. Oh, yeah. This is working, but this system. See, so I'm not wrong. It's okay. So you go through the slides. We will coordinate. Right? It doesn't matter. So claim fraud is just one example. And there are many, many frauds. The extent of frauds in insurance industry in India is 30,000 crores per year. General insurance plus life insurance. I'll just give one example so that we can show you more data. And mind you, most fraudsters shop. They would go to company A, company B, company C, company B. One company में lottery लग रहा है तो दूसरा company क्यों छोड़े? So they will always try some other companies. So if industry were to collaborate, cooperate, and share data, at least 10% is a low-hanging fruit. So 3,000 crores is what you could save. How much does a investment cost? 1.5 crores, not more than that. Entire project for the industry I'm talking about. Maybe 2 crores at the most. Look at the savings you get, 3,000 crores. But I've been struggling last 4 years to get the companies together to be selected. I work for the industry body. It takes time in India to select, select and then of course people have to sign the agreements, share data, get customer agreement in the proposal forms. Legally, regulatorily, collaboratively to do it takes time. But still, the data is not yet actively shared. It's just shared between 4 or 5 companies. 24 companies need to share. And remember, if LIC is sharing, then that's the fun. LIC is 70 to 80% of the industry. And we still don't have that kind of data to get. But of course, some of the bodies have started. The government has started. The regulator has started some initiatives. Just go ahead. So there are a lot of frauds. There are similar frauds like any other industry, which is expense padding and payouts like refund, surrender, etc., etc., etc. So all this, I tried also the same claim payouts analytics in the non-claim payout section. So it doesn't give the similar results. So it's not always a low-hanging fruit. Next. So there are a lot of risks in terms of padding up documents. One of the fraud that was there was the medical underwriting. So there are some pathological labs over in hand in glove. So the guy who goes for medicals will be somebody else, the customer will be somebody else. So one of my underwriter got a clever file. Same cuffling, same shirt design. 5 different proposals. And so I said, the photograph is shown. The face is not there. But this is obviously his. So but he was smart enough to see the pattern and pick it up and reject. And we of course investigated, downgraded the pathological lab or removed them from the list. And sometimes the underwriter lady used to scream at me, Sunder, at this rate no pathological lab will be left. So you have a problem because the sales guys are too smart because they want the business to go through. So it's a push business. It's not easy. Forged signatures. Next, yeah. So most companies have a very robust fraud risk management framework. We do background checks, flags, red flags in the systems. We have also the legal machinery to support it. Next. So this is what I was trying to go through. We're talking about benefit payments, how we track that, survival, and then what we're going to concentrate is on death claims. Next. Also, the regulatory changes sort of help me. The new section 45 says you cannot repudiate a fraud after 3 years. You cannot repudiate a claim on grounds of fraud after 3 years. So even more what I did made sense because I went after the frauds 1 month, 2 months, 3 months time. And so, my case, now everybody, of course, has started. All the companies in the industries do what I do. Post-issuance, risk verification. So these are the sort of growing claims. You ideally need to be at 3.5, whereas the per thousand, so it's going up because of the fraud quotient in that. Next. So that's why we were looking at a proactive model, looking at the industry's history of the claims, triggers, and then looking at patterns. Next. So we started a proactive fraud risk management. We looked at dead man, which is very, very high risk, no occupation or no such occupation, educational mismatch, high risk, and then we made a risk pattern, risk scores, and then went after the investigations. Next. Then I looked at this kind of a scoring model, used age, products, occupation, PIN code, and total sum assured. Then we had high scores, low scores. Next. Looked at a model development, looked at the variables, did some pilot testing, run the model, run analytical models for some time. Next. Then we hit up regression testing using SASE manner and looked at what is the propensity scores. Go to the next one. So we had some patterns and we looked at, mind you, if I do oversampling, I have a problem. It has to be a surgical strike. So I have to exactly strike exactly because of the cost. So the base for modeling was taken. And then next one. We looked at various variables in data, categories, ages. Next. Again, looked at what is the base. Next. What is the pattern you took? What is the pattern you get? Next one. Look at the trends. Look at high-risk portfolios, sourcings, year by year, data by data. Analyze that. Next. This is the most important one. So we got a pattern here in terms of the investigation, post-issuance risk verification. That's the model that I innovated. And looked at the distribution pattern in the high-risk cases. Next. So go back. So yeah. So this is the propensity scores which I was talking about. Next one. So wherever it was more than 15 initially, we started investigating. We got very high, 85%, 90% success actually, because the propensity scores are already high. Next. And so we hit upon a model and looked at how do we improve. And when I put this in SAS, I got 74% improvement, 185% improvement, 75% improvement, 67% improvement, 63 and 43 various months. So that's how use of analytics sort of adds at least 10 crores there straight. And I have not spent a single paise. It's all some other team for some other project, borrowed, collaborated, teamwork. And that's how it is. Next. Of course, we won several awards. And next. I don't want to showcase all that. Next. That's about it. So, moral of the story is you look at data, you look at patterns, you look at use of tools. You really, really could add value wherever you belong to. And makes very, very immense sense. Of course, you need to collaborate well. Imagine, as I mentioned, if industry collaborates, 30,000 crores, 10%, straight. 10% is minimum, it's given. 3,000 crores straight saved. Look at the kind of money that's going away in the drain. And just people have to collaborate, share data. Of course, there are a lot of hesitations, inhibitions. How do we share data? How is the data secure? Who's going to be the bureau and things like that? We have international bureaus, of course, who are there in the country right now. They're all working on it, regulatory aspects and so many things. And most of these organizations are multinationals outside India, whether the server is inside, data center is inside, is it sensitive data, is it critical data, can we give it to an outside party, so many things are there. So this is where we are. So there is no end to intelligence, use of data, innovation, think always out of the box, you will get results. And that's what happened. And I thought I'd showcase that and share my experience. Thank you so much. Any questions, you can take it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Is the company using sentiment analysis in deciding the pattern in the data where they have this default?
Sentimental analysis and data, yes. When you do surveys, customer surveys, we look at that. And then try and decide how is the call center people behaving towards customers, complaints, how they handle calls.
So
You will be surprised, even the leadership team, there is a mandate to listen to at least 10 calls and then I have to give a feedback how they handled. How did the customer react? Was he happy? Did they gauge that? And so this becomes very important. It's an highly customer-centric industry. Everything is trust-based. So in a financial services, you need to gauge whether customer trusts you. And these are very, very important. So sentiments do help. And so I was very eagerly listening to the wonderful panel discussion we had earlier and look at what kind of options we have. And yes, I think it would add really good value if you have a analytics or engine to gauge the sentiments, the emotions, etc. It does add value.
So what level has been used in insurance?
That's what I said. So we analyze the reactions, feedback, and there are dashboards to gauge that. Satisfactory, highly satisfactory. What are the suggestions of customers? What are the sentiments they have? Are they happy? How would a customer rate you? Out 5 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. What are the things going wrong? What do we fix? How do we fix? We have to do a RCA, root cause analysis. Why? We also have a PDCA. I am also part of the Japanese company. They're very, very particular about PDCA. So, we need to go through sentiments of employees, sentiments of customers. So, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and distributor satisfaction. The extended arm. So these three are very important. So we look at CSAT scores, DSAT scores, distributor satisfaction survey, and ESAT scores, employee satisfaction survey. So we participate in several surveys. Also we engage AC Nelson and people like that to do some kind of customer gauging. They will go and meet up customers, old, new, gone, annoyed customers and all that to gauge what goes wrong.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So about we do that. So yeah. So we look at good question. So I'm looking at from my own company about 100 crores. Is the fraud claims per year. So we looked at about what? So I saved about 70. So still there are 30 left, 30 to 20. But some would be in the gray area legally. Like I might not have enough evidence. I may not get. Yeah? If you do a surgical strike, still there are those terrorists who would go away. You will not hit all the terrorists. So we forecast 100 and I get 80, 85, 90.
80%.
80 to 95. So
The success rate was 80%.
85 to 90. But very low hanging fruit. All analytics do not give you that kind of success rate. I'm trying this analytics in another area, so it's not similarly successful. It's tough. That's it.
So how important is pattern finding in fraud analytics?
Very important. Very, very important.
Like in your case, like you did all those stuffs. Because of that only, you managed to go to like 85% or 90%, right? So if you're not good at pattern finding, how important is in this case? Like
very important. Data is all about patterns and using analytics is all about patterns. So of course there are many aspects to that and many more things to that, but one of the most important is pattern. And so it is important. So you can't say I can't do patterns. Your question, otherwise also the other aspect of your question is, did your experience help you in this intuitive experience? Only initially. I could smell it, I could innovate, I could put my resources, go after this. Like a doctor, experienced doctor, I could see something is wrong. But are X-rays, blood test report important? Are clinical studies important? Yes, they are important. So it does help, Yusuf, in a big way. Thank you so much. Thanks for the attention. And lunchtime, I'm standing on your way, but still people are very attentive. Thank you.
So the topic was such. You definitely have a very tough job in hand. Another round of applause for someone who's dealing with the frosters of the country. And very rightly said, if the industries come together, it makes us much stronger. It makes a stronger case for us to fight through frauds and save money not only for companies but for the country as a whole. Right? And as it's said that united we stand and divided we fall. So I hope in prayer